Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Conspiracy Farm, where we don't start the conspiracies, we just add the water. And now, your host of the most state-of-the-art, most informed podcast on the Interweb, I present to you Pat Miletich and Jeffrey Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for...
Sweet. Well, let's do this thing, gentlemen. Today, another episode of the Conspiracy Farm. I'm, as always, your host, co-host. I always do that. Mr. Jeffrey Wilson, coming live and direct with my co-host, UFC Hall of Famer, Mr. Pat Miletich. What's up, Patrick?
Not much, but, you keep calling yourself the host, and you're going to have to quit hogging the microphone.
Yeah, well, I have my other podcast, so that's like my spiel. So it's like my co-host, Mr. UFC Hall of Famer, Pat Miletich, the reason for this season, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we're going to, chop it up with a very interesting individual who has just taken the interweb by storm in the last month or so. It's very, very interesting to see how this whole thing has gone down. His journey began at WashU University during the presidential debates with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, and he was the gentleman in the red sweater, the red Izod sweater, asking the question. We'll talk about the question he asked. Mr. Ken Bone is joining us today. Mr. Bone, how are you, sir?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, absolutely, man. Thank you for taking the time. Have things calmed down a little bit for you?
Yeah, it's a little slower than it was. I'm only doing like 2 or 3 interviews a day now, which is a far cry from the 20 to 30 I was doing the first week.
I mean, you have a regular job?
Yeah, I actually got to be there in about 5 hours.
Okay, because doing 20 interviews a day, that's nuts while you're not at work, right?
Yeah, I used up all my vacation time for the rest of the year doing all that kind of stuff, so now I actually got to go.
Your boss is like, we don't care who you think you are, brother. You still got to take your vacation time like everybody else.
Yeah, so they've been cool, but it's not like I'm out promoting the company, so that doesn't count as work.
So what is it that you do? What is it in your real world? What do you do for a living, sir, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm a control room operator at a power plant. It's kind of like being a producer in the entertainment world. You coordinate with every department. You kind of keep the plates spinning behind the scenes, and then when something bad happens, you jump in front of it. You keep it from turning into a disaster.
Very cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
So that kind of lends itself to the question that you asked in the debate. What was that question that you asked? It was kind of energy related.
Yeah, I was asking them, how do we protect the environment, but at the same time, we don't put all of our fossil power plant workers out on the street? Like, what do we do with those people?
And that's kind of, that was quite a bit of what Donald Trump was talking about, jumping on and utilizing clean coal, and getting the power plants back up, getting the steel and getting the companies and factories back up. Yeah,
he was, Donald Trump's all about coal energy. It kind of built the infrastructure of this country. We recognize the need for renewable energy and how that's coming down the pike, but it's going to take probably 20 years to rebuild our infrastructure to get there. So we need to have cleaner burning coal power plants like mine built in the meantime.
Maybe you need to hop on the old Trump cabinet, man, Department of Energy over there. You need to get at them.
Well, I never officially endorsed any candidate before the election, but if you wanted to offer me a job, anybody wants to offer me a job, I'll hear them out.
Now, Ken, it sounds to me anyway like, and I don't know if you'll even answer this, but it sounds to me like you voted for Trump.
Well, I'm not telling anybody who I voted for. I live in the state of Illinois, and it went Clinton anyway. So I'll never say that your vote doesn't make a difference, because your vote does send a message. But no matter which way I voted, it definitely would not have swung the state of Illinois. But now that President-elect Trump is the winner, I'm definitely going to give him all my public support.
Well, that's cool. Very cool.
Well, that's obviously, the cool, obviously mature thing to do, and I wish other people would take a page from that. That was really kind of cool thing that I thought, Ken, other than just like this kind of automatic celebrity that you got, I found very interesting. But you had a message. There was some substance to what you were talking about. You really were trying to impart a message to the people to really go out and take part in the voting process, in the electoral process. Don't just be on the sidelines. Be a part of it.
Yeah, like I made some money and I had some opportunities and did a lot of fun stuff. But I've tried to put a lot of emphasis on raising money for charities and getting people out to the polls and making their voice heard. Like, I got to participate in this debate totally at random. You get picked randomly by the Gallup poll. And I thought, man, I got to have my voice heard just because of random chance. You know, I can use this as a platform to tell other people that they can make their voice heard by getting out and talking about the issues and going to the polls.
Which is a cool message, and obviously it resonated, man. The numbers, obviously. I've even said on this show, and Pat even had to check me, I thought the establishment, you know, as established as they are, was going to go for Hillary and go down fighting and swinging and do whatever they could to elect her. And what I saw that night, like the election night, I was just, like everyone else, I was really kind of blown away.
Yeah, I think we saw a lot of inaccuracy in the polls, probably because there was like this stigma. If you said you were voting Trump, a lot of people would jump on you and call you hateful or a bigot, you know, even if you were voting for economic issues. So people were like, well, I don't really want to deal with that, so I'm just not going to tell anybody who I'm voting for either. So a lot of people didn't want to say who they were voting for or just didn't answer pollsters, and then they showed up and voted, and they made the difference.
In huge numbers, man. I was just like,
I think social media, it showed the power of social media, and I think on top of that, where Trump has Stephen Bannon now, kind of running the show for him along with Priebus, you know, it shows with Bannon coming from Breitbart that alternative media really has a massive amount of power right now because people want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear mainstream media piping, you know, a lot of misinformation to them.
Yeah, social media, it's like the best and worst thing about it is that it doesn't necessarily get filtered through a giant corporate infrastructure.
Well,
so you have to watch what it says sometimes because it might not always necessarily be true. But then again, things from the mainstream media might not necessarily be true either.
Exactly.
Well, that's the thing, Ken, is we pretty much we at least take a 50-50 shot on the social media. We know it's not true coming from mainstream media for the most part.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of media outlets with an agenda because you can't make money anymore reporting the news unless you have an angle. You can't just be a fact reporter and stay on the air.
Well, what we saw towards the end of this election, you know, the whole Donna Brazile, you know, feeding so many people, like a couple people were feeding Hillary questions pre-debate. I mean, it was just so blatant how that marriage was between the media and the political apparatus. It's pretty scary, in fact.
Yeah, I was shocked to see that. I mean, that's Donna Brazile's had a great career, and then to show that kind of lack of journalistic integrity, that really kind of made me sad, actually.
Yeah, that definitely, I mean, I don't know if that's exactly what she's going to be known for, but she was definitely let go from CNN. How she's still the head of the DNC, I'm not quite sure, but
well, I mean, that's a given. I mean, you think of Wasserman Schultz getting fired from the DNC and then getting a job with Hillary Clinton. You know, it's
a revolving door.
It's just like Monsanto and the FDA and all the other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just that's the way it is.
I think the DNC is about to see a big shakeup. You're going to see a lot of new leadership here in the next few weeks, probably.
Well, what worries me about that shakeup is that Elizabeth Warren was just, what was it, yesterday or the day before, meeting with George Soros. So now she's now his under his wing even more now that Hillary didn't succeed. So Soros is still trying to have his hand in that left wing agenda and funding it with massive amounts of money. So look for Warren to be their front runner coming up in the next election. I guarantee it. I almost guarantee it. And they're going to go further left.
I see that happen. But something you can really watch though is because of the social media aspect that we already talked about. The money doesn't matter as much anymore. Obviously, It makes a difference, but Hillary spent about double what Donald Trump did, and look where it got her.
And I think
they spent.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They spent about $1 billion, right?
Yeah, it's huge, man. I mean, it outspent Trump big time, big league, in fact. But I think this goes to an overall paradigm shift in what we're expecting now from our political leaders. We don't want necessarily the teleprompter reading, just scandal-ridden insiders, is as ugly as it is. A lot of people want something fresher and newer, and that's what kind of Donald Trump symbolizes, even though it's not the prettiest picture in the world. I wanted to ask you, Ken, in the recent days, we're seeing and we're hearing this conversation about like election season Trump when he was running, candidate Trump, and then, President-elect Trump has really kind of changed his tune on a couple of things, particularly immigration. It sounds like he's reeled in the roundup talk, which is cool. I'm not necessarily talking roundup stuff. And even Hillary on some of the Sunday morning shows reeled in the special prosecutor talk and was like, I like Hillary. I don't want to hurt Hillary. Is that not a serious 360 on what he was, or 180 on what he was talking about?
There's definitely a big softening of his tone, but I think that might just be to try to make the American public a little more comfortable. When you say things like you're going to put your political opponent in jail, it makes some people uncomfortable. It makes them think of, like, the Khmer Rouge or something like that, which obviously we're not at that point. And I don't know if we need a special prosecutor for Secretary Clinton. I think we just let the justice system play out normally and see what happens there. And if there is anything to be found, they'll find it. And if not, hopefully we can forget about the whole mess and move on.
Well, those mechanisms tried to go down with the Department of Justice and the FBI. FBI was going towards the Clinton, I guess they still are, the Clinton Foundation, and the Department of Justice kind of stifled that. So, these separate branches of government are supposed to be separate for the checks and balances aspect, but clearly, there's some crossing of the streams here.
And I think at very least we're going to find out if Hillary was truly being protected by the Department of Justice and the FBI.
Yeah, there were a lot of people who I'm sure were fearful for the future political climate when it looked like Secretary Clinton was going to win. Mm-hmm. Now that she didn't win, hopefully President-elect Trump doesn't lean on them and force them to prosecute when they shouldn't. I hope he'll just let it play out now that there's no real pressure from the Clinton side, and we'll see if there's anything to it. And if not, like I said, it can just be over with.
I don't necessarily, and you guys might differ in this opinion, but I don't see Trump as necessarily a vindictive guy in this given situation. I don't think he has a reason to be. I think what Ken's saying is true, that he's probably going to just let it play out and see what happens and not even worry about it. I think he's more worried, about our economic system, about our economics and turning this country's economy around. Because when you pull back the black blanket that's covering it, that's it's been hidden from us, I think that people would realize that it's in pretty bad shape.
Yeah, it wouldn't make good political sense to go after Hillary anyway, because she's not a threat, and you'd basically be spending political capital and, calling in favors for no political gain. So unless he really feels like she's a threat to the nation, and I don't think that she is, and I don't think that he thinks that, I don't see him putting a lot of pressure on.
What do you think the reaction is from his core then, from the cats who were like ravenous, lock her up? What's the impact on that? I mean,
hopefully he can just kind of placate those people by letting the process play out the way it's supposed to, letting it be investigated fairly. And, I know a lot of people probably won't be saatified like that because they're howling for blood, but
there's a pretty huge amount of evidence. There's quite a, election can't, I know it's over, but I mean, there's still, we're talking pedophilia and classified, it's more than just political, upsmanship, in my opinion. It's about accountability at this point. But,
if a lot of the things, that have been pointed to, actually happen, and we have evidence of that, Anthony Weiner needs to go to jail. That's for sure. And anybody who was sheltering him needs to be prosecuted also, but we'll just have to find out how deep it goes.
Right. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people. I think there's going to be a lot of people implicated in it, Ken.
Like I said in the last couple of episodes,
I don't know if it'll go all the way to the top, but I think there are quite a few people that were trying to shield him for, political purposes, and I hope they'll be brought to justice.
Well, and they are also taking part. What were those parties called, Pat, with the cake with the nasty stuff in it?
Spirit cooking.
Spirit cooking. I don't know if you heard about that, Ken. some of the information that came out in the emails about the spirit cooking and some of the kind of twisted parties they had with like mock child sacrifice, and it's interesting stuff.
That was Podesta and his folks.
That's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
So that's Hillary's camp. That's Hillary's camp. I mean, Podesta was running the show for her.
And that's not even talking about stuff. Jeffrey Epstein and what is it called? The Lolita Express and the parties with the kids. Hey, there, some of the emails actually read, the pool's warm, there's such and such name, age 7, such and such name, age 10, such and such name, age 6. Like, you have plenty of entertainment. I mean, it's just diabolical stuff. And I'm anxious to see if they do take it there, because obviously the paper trail and the evidence shows it goes there. I wonder if the investigating forces will go there as well. But we digress. It is President-elect Trump. What's your prognosis, man? What do you think? Do you think obviously I hear a lot of talk about people, give him a chance, which is cool. It's the adult way to approach it. What are your thoughts on the next 4 years?
Well, I hope that he will appoint people based on their prowess in their area to cabinet positions, and avoid appointing people for political favors. I mean, Reince Priebus he's not a moderate guy. He's a very conservative guy, but he's always shown himself to be fair running the RNC, and he's done a great job. So hopefully he'll make a great chief of staff, and we'll just have to see who we get in key cabinet positions. Hopefully relatively moderate people who are experts in the field and not somebody's uncle or, a big political donor.
Well, you hear how it's shaping up so far. Giuliani's Attorney General, Newt Gingrich, Secretary of State. I mean, obviously these are just rumored positions or assignments.
Yeah, Newt Gingrich, he's got a lot of foreign policy experience. He's been out of the game for a little while, but he'll probably be good. Rudy Giuliani, I think, is an excellent pick for Attorney General. He knows the justice system inside and out. He cleaned up New York. I think he can clean up the justice system.
And then, of course, that baits the whole thing. He ran as an outsider, and then he appoints a bunch of insiders. I don't know,
Well, and Ben Carson turned down a position at HHS.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he turned it down. Said he didn't have enough experience in the public sector. And I thought, dude, you were running for president.
What the hell? That's interesting.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that. That's wild. I think. Dr. Carson probably would be good. Maybe not for a top level, maybe not as like Surgeon General or something, but definitely a higher level, like boots on the ground kind of job with HHS.
Right, and he lived a tough life of poverty, and had a great mother, luckily, that forced he and his brothers to give book reports. That's amazing. That had to be an amazing woman. She couldn't even read, forced them to read books, give book reports on all the books, and act like she graded them.
Interesting.
That's a cool mom, dude.
Yeah,
that's a mom that saw into the future.
Right. Exactly. She cared.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, yeah, Pat, you got any more questions for Mr. Bohm before we let him slide?
Nope, I'm good. Ken, thank you very much for being here, buddy.
Well, thanks for having me on. It's been a blast. You guys have a great show.
Well, yeah, you too. And another point, man. You something has come from this, man. You are 250,000, if not more, Twitter followers. You got yourself. I'm not going to get into your financial business, but you got yourself, I believe, a deal with iZod. Is that correct?
Yeah. Sponsorship deals, like you guys probably know, they don't pay as much as the internet seems to think that they do.
Right.
You do one commercial, you're not going to retire. But I've made some money. It's been a great time. I'm at KenBone18 on Twitter if anybody wants to check me out. And I just launched my YouTube channel today, The Bone Zone on YouTube. So if anybody wants to check me out, I've got my intro video on there.
That's awesome.
That is fantastic, man. Yeah, way to take advantage of it, man. It's cool. You're a good guy. You're an insightful guy, and you obviously care about your country, man. And we all appreciate you, brother.
I'm just going to keep going as long as I can do some good and as long as it's fun, and then I don't have to anymore because I got a career and a house and a job and a kid and all that stuff.
See, there you go.
There you go. All right, Ken, best of luck to you, buddy.
Enjoy it. All right,
you guys have a good one.
Thank you, sir. This has been Mr. Ken Bone on the show. Thank you. I appreciate him for joining us, man. That was pretty sweet. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a quick break, and me and Pat are going to close out the show with a little chit-chat. Uno momento. This segment of the Conspiracy Farm is brought to you by Firehorse Combatives. Firehorse Combatives is cutting-edge, real-world training that combines the knowledge of the cage, street, and battlefield that can be tailor-made to fit job specifics. Firehorse Combatives has trained everyone from local, state, and federal law enforcement to all branches of the military and special forces groups attached to those military branches. Even corporate executives seek Firehorse expertise in how to survive dangerous encounters during business trips abroad. Firehorse courses are for doers in society, and all of their material has been proven in the real world because there is no room for theory in a fight. If it doesn't work, Firehorse doesn't teach it. Go to www.firehorsecombatives.com to find out more about the best in law enforcement and military defensive tactics and combatives. Yeah, that was pretty sweet, man. Mr. Bone stopping by the show, man. That guy's had a whirlwind of a life over the last couple months, man. Crazy.
Yeah, not something that he expected, I'm sure, but good for him to. And the way he approached it obviously was not the way I would have approached it. I would have been pro-Trump, or at least anti-Hillary. With my question, and I could have asked the exact same question that he asked about the energy sector, and been anti-Hillary, right? Because she's in past speeches swore to kill the coal industry.
Yeah, somehow I don't think you would have made it through like the initial screening of the potential the potential guests up there. But no, yeah, it's cool. I mean, like I said, that next day he was on, man, I saw his like Twitter explode. He's got an IZOD deal. I mean, like I said, he's not making too much money.
Wait a minute. Go back to that disparaging comment you made about me.
What? I'm just saying, bro. If they're like, okay, let's look up everyone's dossier, let's check everyone's shit. What's going on? Oh, Pat Miletich, he co-hosts a show called The Conspiracy Farm. Well, let's give this a listen and see what this is about. Somehow we don't think we want to put this next to, I don't. That's what I meant.
This could blow up in network news' face.
Yes, this could get bad. Let's put this gentleman, this nice, round, red, innocent, harmless-looking gentleman named Ken Bone. But yeah, man. So what do you think, bro? I mean, it's everyone's saying Trump trolled the world or Trump trolled us. Like, do you think he's just gonna completely flip? And what's the Hillary thing, man? Like, what? You're not. I don't want to hurt her. She's a good person. Like, what?
No, look.
This is what he said.
Think about it, though, dude. He is great. He's a great and a smart businessman. He's not going to come out and just say, "Oh yeah, we're prosecuting." Yeah. He's not going to do that. He's going to let, like Ken was suggesting or alluding to, that he thought Trump would probably let it play out, and I think he's got bigger things to worry about now.
Sure.
And as Ken said too, he's right on. He's a smart guy, obviously.
Yeah.
Clinton is no longer a threat. I mean, just think about.
Do you think so, dude? Hillary Clinton?
Dude, what leverage do the Clintons have anymore?
I mean, she's just connected like that. I mean, that's.
Yeah, but dude, she was only connected because she had power. She has zero power now. She doesn't control the State Department. She's not running for president. What favors can she get now? Who's going to donate money to the Clinton Foundation, and for what? They're not going to get any favors anymore, dude.
Right, yeah.
So I think that well's going to dry up. Sure, it's a couple $2 billion and it's sitting over in Qatar Bank or whatever, but there's no juice left. They have no juice.
Yeah. I'll be anxious to see, man. I'm dating. People probably won't know what this reference means, but there was a show called Rome on HBO several years ago. And there was Julius Caesar's, I think, niece or something. Her name was Atia of the Julii, and she was like the most conniving. I mean, from behind the scenes was just like doing the most Machiavellian, horrible shit, just knocking people off, poisoning everyone. I mean, she was just a nasty chick.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But she was doing this all from like in the cut, man, from not being a public person. So. Yeah, and this was even after Caesar died, too, because that was kind of the same thing. Caesar died, so she lost her juice, but she was still, was married to the right person. It's just interesting to see how this will play out, dude, because I can't see the Clintons just going away. But I do feel what you're saying. Their power has been significantly diminished.
Yeah, and what Trump was saying, though, in terms of moving forward from here, when he was asked by a morning show set of anchors, about the situation in the Middle East. They started talking about, Assad, how evil he was, Putin, how evil he was, and Trump goes, listen, man. He goes, I'm not saying they're great guys. Remains to be seen if I'm going to get along with Putin. I probably will get along with him because it benefits both of our nations. But he goes, this administration and Hillary Clinton were arming terrorists, evil people, like we've been saying for the past year, raising hell about it. And Trump's telling these people on network news, look, we've been arming these evil people, taking out Gaddafi, taking out Saddam Hussein, and now trying to take out Assad. For what reason? He's not going to come out and say it like we are, right? He doesn't want to make the global bankers his enemy right away. He's hoping not to get knocked off that quick, but he's alluding to it, and he's saying, look, had the politicians gone to the beach and just laid on the beach that day instead of voting or choosing to go in and kill Saddam Hussein, Gaddafi, and now Assad, how much better off would we be right now? How much better off would the world be? Europe would not be being flooded with millions. What is it, 14 million refugees now?
Right. I mean, that's not even talking about the millions of dead people from, the combined wars of Afghanistan, Iraq.
Dude, exactly. The boat is about to capsize in Europe, dude. And none of that would be happening if it weren't for these bullshit wars and overthrowing these dictators.
Yeah. That's we've talked about in other episodes. Wesley Clark. Man. Wesley Clark and his going to the Pentagon saying, 5 countries in 7 years or whatever it was. Like, this is, if people want to go YouTube that video, Wesley Clark, 5 countries in 5 years or something like that. And the timetable is off. 7 countries in 5 years. Yeah, the timetable's been off, but we're talking about the same countries that they were talking about taking out years ago.
Right.
And this even goes back to the Project for a New American Century, which is even before, that's in the 90s.
So what this does, dude, from what I'm hearing from Trump right now, in the early stuff that he's talking about, this sets the globalists back a lot. So are they going to sit back and be patient? They're working behind the scenes already, as I said, with Soros meeting with Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren trying to get her under his wing. And what are you laughing about?
I didn't think, I was like Pocahontas, but that's right. She's the one who said like she's got Indian or something like that.
She's faux Pocahontas.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's funny.
What do they? She lied to get the job at Harvard, right?
Yeah.
We already know that. She has no Native American blood in her veins whatsoever. I'd love to see a DNA report. Have somebody do a DNA check on her. It's bullshit. But all of these people that, what is it? They associate, or men that think they're women can go to the women's bathroom. What is that?
I identify with.
Identify. Okay. It's so. Here's what I'm thinking. So I keep getting these letters where I have to fill out paperwork on my business, Militich Fighting Systems, because they want to know, is it minority owned? Is it this? Is it that? Well, in terms of, I'm registered with the government to train military and agency people, right? So can I then, because people can identify with different races and sexes now and all this, Jeff, would it be okay if I identified as an African American and was then registered as a minority-owned business and was able to obtain business because of that?
Well, I don't even remember her name. The chick, the NAACP chick who was the white black chick for years.
She was white.
That's what I'm saying. Black. Like, she was white, but like put the black on. I'm just like.
That was Rachel Dolezal.
There you go. Yeah.
And as I said, Rachel Dolezal, she doesn't deserve reparations if the government decides to pay those out to African Americans, does she?
No, God, no. Come on.
Right. So this is what I'm saying about these loony left bastards. Anyway, but back to Elizabeth Warren. She's a nut job, dude. But Soros has picked her. They're going to go further.
Prepping?
They're going to go further left, dude. More free stuff. I guarantee it.
What about Michelle? I hear they're prepping Michelle for a possible move. Even though she's never really held public office, but
look, dude, that's the double whammy.
Right.
She's a woman and she's African American.
Right.
Seriously, dude. That could be the play.
And they'd have that Obama juice back. You know what I mean? Because that's what they desperately need. I mean, they don't. I mean, like I said, it's been such a shakeup on both sides. Donald shook up the RNC. Clearly, the Democrat side is just in shambles because, like, literally, who's next? And here we are spitballing that. Possibly Elizabeth Warren. Like, who's the superstars?
dude, their thinking is just think with, well, this program failed because we didn't throw enough money at it. So they throw more money at it, and it's just a bigger failure. With every one of these programs, the left's way of thinking is they weren't left enough. So now they're going to go further left. And I think that they're scrambling. I think that Trump, he turned both parties upside down, dude. Single-handedly turned them both upside down. The GOP is starting to move towards Trump, right?
Well,
they have no choice. They have to move towards the president, right?
Watching Paul Ryan do that like 24 hours after he won, it was just like, wow, look at this
kissing
guy.
ass. Let me give you a tour. Let me point stuff out to you here.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They refused to campaign for him, and I saw it pointing shit out. I was like, oh wow, this is insane.
Yeah, absolutely. You're my new master. So all right.
Obama too. It was like, shit, how crazy shit changed. I mean, it's still surreal.
But the left is going to go further left because they didn't think they were left enough, and they're going to piss the American people off even more, dude.
Well, and I think it's going to be that with a vengeance too, as a revenge, because they're so will still be pissed about Hillary losing and Trump being in, because even in 4 years, like you said, they're going to come back with a vengeance, in my opinion. But they have to pick the right, quote unquote kind of superstar, because like I said, the formula has changed. We're not going for the tie's got to come off. Like, you got to speak a little bit more loose and, maybe drop an F-bomb. I mean, not literally, but, what we're looking for is just, is different in our political candidates. And good for that shit, man. Like I said, we need to get your butt up in the mix, man. It's time. You could win yourself a Senate seat or a House seat, brother. I can almost guarantee you.
I got a 3-year plan. I got to complete some things first.
3-year plan. I like it. We'll have to talk about that. I have to hear more about this 3-year plan.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think Trump's going in the right direction on some things. And, in another interview that he did with 60 Minutes, I saw a Twitter post. Somebody asked, how long is the interview? And the guy goes, dude, the show's called 60 Minutes. It's like, what a retard. But in that interview, they're talking about gay marriage. Are you still going to reverse that? He goes, it's already been, come on.
Yeah.
And the courts already decided on abortion, Roe versus Wade. He goes, no. He goes, am I gonna put conservative judges in? Absolutely. He goes, but that's not the purpose. Okay. The purpose is not to overturn abortion and everything. It's people are gonna do it no matter what. If it's illegal, they were doing it when it was illegal, right? And women were dying because of it. So people are going to do whatever the hell they want, no matter what the law is in that sense, if they feel like they have to. And so I think he really understands, dude. He's a lot smarter than he talks anyway. He's some really stupid shit while he was running, but he's a lot smarter than that, and he recognizes what he can do and his legacy. I mean, he's a billionaire. That all of that stuff is not a big deal to him anymore. He's always going to have money now. Now I want to be remembered as doing something great for my country and turning it around economically and bringing it back to a constitutional republic as much as I can before I'm gone, right?
Exactly. Well, I mean, and it's so desperate. I mean, even some of the cats who I hope we're going to get him on. I don't want to drop his name, but we will get him on here in a couple of weeks. And others that I listened to, and we've even talked about it. This was a referendum on globalism versus basically nationalism of sorts. And we desperately kind of need a sort of nationalism right now because we are being bled. Our country is being extracted financially in so many different forms. And in any way for this country to still exist in the way we have it, we almost need something like a Trump to put the kibosh on your NAFTA, your GATT, your World Trade Organization.
Think about what you just said. Ford decided not to go to Mexico with the production of its trucks, I believe it was. They decided to go to Ohio. So think of that. Just that right there, the first move by a major company to manufacture more of their vehicles in Ohio. So putting more people to work, starting the wheels up on the factories in Ohio. It's already starting to happen, and the economy is definitely going to come to life because of it.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm anxious to see, man. I think I'll be anxious to see if Trump really starts creating substance, so people start getting past, like completely forget, rear view mirror, his brash style and dumb shit he says, and starts realizing, look, this is functional. This dude it's working. Like he is, creating jobs and, helping people out, putting more money in people's pockets, and et cetera, et cetera. So I'll be anxious to see if he slowly goes the globalist route, or if he goes as hard as he says about putting the kibosh on that stuff from an economic standpoint and trade standpoint.
I don't think he's going to go the globalist route, buddy. I don't think
so either.
I've got faith in the guy.
Yeah, so I do too. At this point, we almost have to. We do have to. So I'll be anxious to see, man. We got 4 years, baby.
Yeah, and then the left wing media is full on pissed off. You can tell because they're lying through their teeth about so many things. Just like I was saying, Stephen Bannon from Breitbart, who was appointed in his cabinet right off the bat, right? Mm-hmm. Bannon is being called an anti-Semite and all these other things
I've heard
by mainstream media. I just want to say to Don Lemon and these other morons that are piping this stuff out to people, dude, Bannon has 3 daughters that are married to Jewish guys. He's got Jewish grandchildren, you fucking morons. So this is the kind of stuff, the hit jobs that they're doing on people. That's complete bullshit, and people have to recognize that they got to do the research on their own.
Yeah. Or this election proves that to be the case as far as elections and polls and focus groups. CNN, there should be a moratorium on CNN for the duration of the Trump presidency. I mean, they should just be shut down for a minute because the shit they were spewing, I mean, my God. Well, then the whole Donna Brazil business, it became so just painful that
I'm sorry, here's how moronic they are over at CNN and MSNBC in the bubble they live in. Dude, after the election, they're in the following day and the following day. And
let's say that again. You broke up. You broke up there.
Because, I was just saying that the MSNBC and CNN morons were seeing their ratings go through the roof after the election, right? And now they're going to start tapering off. You know why their numbers, their Nielsen ratings went through the roof right after the election and the next few days after?
Because they wanted to see them with egg on their face.
Because all the conservatives, I was switching over to it, dude. I was switching over and just sipping a glass of wine going, this is fucking awesome.
They were losing their shit, dude. They were losing their shit.
There is no longer any, I mean,
it was great. It was good.
The media is just not the media. It's dead, dude. It's dead. Now, if Trump turns into a bad guy, we're going to talk about it on here.
Of course.
We're not pro-Trump. We're pro-Constitution and pro doing the right thing.
Yeah, right? I'm an equal opportunity roaster. Believe
absolutely,
me.
Absolutely. And the media, they're being fed by someone else, right? So they can't do what we do.
Of course. That's why it's awesome doing what
what happens if somebody offers us massive amounts of money and we have to talk like Don Lemon?
It won't happen, dude. It won't. I mean, there's just no way, dude. You know what I mean?
Are you saying we're not good enough? Are you saying we're not
good enough? Hell no. That's not even the case, dude. But there's no Faustian deal going on here, man. There's no deal with the devil that's going to happen. I don't care how much money, bro.
That was just a check. I had to throw a check on you, bud.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. There's no $1 million man. Everybody's got a price over here, brother. Not even close.
So how long does it take for Trump to get over and meet with Putin?
I don't know. We'll see. When he gets inaugurated in January, when's the next G summit or one of the big where they all link up?
Happens before then, dude.
Well,
I think he meets with Putin. I think he meets with Putin before then.
Before he gets in?
I think there's a chance of it. Yeah.
Huh.
I would be.
Well, I mean, I just wonder if that would be bad form. You know what I mean? Hey, wait for dude to get out before you go over there and start talking politics.
Well, I don't know if it'd be bad form. I think it'd be, hey, no matter what happens over there, if one of our planes gets shot down or your plane gets shot down, let's let cooler heads prevail, dude.
Well, yeah, and that is the other thing, bro.
Because I'm coming and I don't want to go to war with you.
And he has until January 20th, man. We have a lot of time for other shit to go down because, like I said in other episodes, he won, but that establishment, boy,
right?
They ain't done. They ain't dead.
And what is the provision that could possibly allow for Bernie Sanders to slide in?
When?
What is the provision? There's a provision. Somebody was talking about some crazy way that somebody like Sanders could be slid in, and I thought, no way, you're crazy. And I thought maybe you had a chance to read about that.
I mean, as far as whatever line of succession, Like now that he's
Like
actually
now.
president, or because he was a Democratic nominee or whatever.
Now, yeah, because I think he got robbed, and they know it, right?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I don't know the provision to. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like these things still need to be adjudicated, man. Like Hillary still needs to get investigated. The DNC. That's what's so crazy and so schizophrenic about us, bro. Like as a country, we every 4 years get into this pendulum, and like right now we hear during the election all this dirt on these people. Now that he's won, he's like, yeah, no, we'll just let him right up into the sunset and keep molesting children and fucking washing money and drugs and whatever they're into. It's just like, what? This goes back to the no accountability, in my opinion.
I really don't think that's going to be the case, though. I really don't.
Do you think something's going to come of all this stuff eventually?
Absolutely. I really think that.
Well, yeah, the FBI investigation of the Clinton Foundation is still going on, right?
Yeah, and the CEO is still missing.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, is he still gone? Oh my goodness.
CEO is still gone. October 12th, still his last. That's more than a month, dude. That nobody's heard from him.
That's weird. Where is that dude?
It's not weird
I mean,
because he knows he's going down, dude.
Well, I mean, yeah, it just when I say weird, it's like this is if they're trying to make it seem like there's nothing to see here, that's not a good look when your CEO is gone for a month, just inconspicuous.
Yeah, he's still missing. So we've got Trump is president. The economy is going to turn around. You watch. It's either that or no. We saw the stock market explode the past week, right?
Oh, which is another thing I found very interesting.
Yeah, is it? Does the bottom fall out on it on purpose?
Well, it was just interesting. It was like that. It was like Brexit reaction. Like, of course, that next day everything melted down, but in the subsequent days everything just chilled out. And in this case, they didn't even global markets kind of melted down. But here we were up like what 200 that next day, and the 200 the next day after that. It was like
right. Yesterday, I believe it finished the highest it ever has.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Which is just that's a telltale sign, man. I mean, which is interesting again, man. Does this mean global markets are shifting and realizing there is a pause in kind of their agenda and kind of maybe, all right, let's look at what's going on and what's about to start going on in America as far as, investment in companies from energy to, infrastructure.
Yeah, things are going to light back up. So, also more news on Trump cabinet people. There's talk of Trey Gowdy being brought in, right?
I'd like to see him as Attorney General.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to get that or not. Is it Giuliani that got put in that already?
That's what I was saying when we had Ken on. This is kind of conversation right now, so nothing's been official, but it looks like
if you have Trey Gowdy as Attorney General or as the head of the Department of Justice, oh man, think of the ass kicking people are going to get from that guy.
Right.
I mean, I would never want to have that guy answering questions that guy's asking. So I'd have to be on some serious relaxants.
It's a little Xanax here or there. So are they done? I mean, are they not going to call? Are they done with Hillary now? Was all that stuff, investigations for 2 years? We got stuff for 2 years to investigate. Was that all contingent on her winning, or is she still possibly going to be called before Congress because of this stuff?
You know what? I don't think they even need to call her anymore. I think they can. If we have good relations with Russia and Hillary's CEO is over there hiding, you don't think Putin's going to hand him over? Right?
Yeah.
A globalist puppet? A puppet of the puppet? Right? Putin's like, I don't want this rat in my country.
Exactly.
Right? He'll turn him over.
We'll see, man. Like I said, this is chess, not checkers. So I'll be very, very the players in the game. It'll be interesting to see how this shakes up, man. Because the global stage is still the global stage. There is still the encircling of Russia and the South China Sea, and there's Africa. There's still a lot going on, man. I'll be anxious to see how Mr. Trump handles this. President-elect Trump.
Absolutely, and the one thing that I heard, which seemed pretty legitimate, is that Hillary was not only losing her mind after the election when she lost, but she was actually violent with her staffers.
I'm trying not to laugh at it, but can you Can you? I mean, yeah. Look at how freaked out the CNN crew were. Look at freaked out how people around college campuses and kids all over protesting were. Imagine Hillary Clinton and being next to her while she just melted down. To be a fly on the wall, brother.
Oh, but it's so many people thinking that she should have been elected simply because she was a woman, right?
That's insane.
And it's obvious the women didn't show up and vote for her, dude. That's obvious.
Yeah, that's interesting too. Statistically, I noticed that. I found that interesting. I mean, because people know, dude. It was just, come on.
It's like like my wife was saying. My wife's going, look, I want a woman to be president, and you and I have no problem with that if it's the right person. Right. It comes down to the person, not the gender or color or anything. It has nothing to do with it, dude. It's just the right character to be in that job who's going to truly do the right thing. And she was obviously by the American moral standards, everybody that had educated themselves on what she was up to all these years went, no, we can't have this, man. This is bad.
It just got to be too much, man. I mean, regardless of the FBI opened the case, closed the case, or whatever, people just like saw through it and was like, this is just too much, man. If you were reading half them damn emails, it's like, all right, dude, this is.
Yeah.
And then the mainstream media didn't really report. I mean, they did talk Podesta emails and this and that, but they never got into those spirit parties and the kid stuff at all, which is,
Dude, think if you're Bashar al-Assad right now, you're thinking to yourself, for those people that don't know, Bashar al-Assad is the president of Syria, is sitting there going, man, I just got to make it to January 20th, dude.
Right, exactly.
I just got to get to January 20th, and ISIS is going to get. Hopefully, Trump's going to follow through, defund them, pull the plug on them, whack them, assist Putin in doing that, and Assad's going to be able to stay as president of the country, or Trump and Putin both talk and say, hey, just let's pull him out of there, let's keep him alive, whatever, he can do what he wants, but I know he's sitting there going, he's counting the days, dude. He's got a chalkboard out. He's scraping off the days.
Well, I mean, you still got, if we do pull our funds out, you still got, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, you still got some other players out there keeping that in motion.
That's the thing. See, that's the thing, though. Think about this. If President Trump says to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, all those other countries, look, you guys just got big arms deals from Obama and this administration, that's not going to happen if ISIS continues, right? You guys are done. You guys are done.
Exactly.
Okay? There's not going to be one more M1 Abrams or a Bradley armored personnel carrier, not one more bullet coming your way. So you guys are on your own. So you might want to think about this shit.
And it's going to be a big shakeup, man. And it's interesting because he's getting briefings, man. He's getting intelligence briefings, and it's interesting because I don't know who in the Joint Chiefs or the Pentagon or the CIA, like who is the kind of mastermind on our end of putting this into play, because there's a lot of money in war. There's a lot of people in these positions of power who want to keep the war going because war is power, money and power, etc. So I'm wondering if he's going to be up against, almost kind of how JFK was in a certain fashion, up against his own military when it comes to like Vietnam and sort of not wanting to intervene, et cetera, et cetera. But we actually see how it plays out, brother.
Well, when you think about it, NATO could do something on its own to start another conflict, and then Trump's like, shit, I got to send people in.
True, yeah.
Right? That's the way I foresee it going down, is NATO's going to pull some shit.
That's true. That's definitely one to look out for.
Then Trump's got to make a decision, and Trump either goes, all right, we're in, or go, you know what, NATO, fuck you. We're the ones that fund you.
Yeah.
Along with, Middle Eastern countries with oil and stuff like that, and some of the other European nations. But, at that point, Trump could go, you know what, NATO's no more. We're done with your shit.
Well, and if Trump knows what's up, NATO is just kind of the official wing of this kind of proxy army, if you will, that has been, the function of it is to kind of, even though it is, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, it's been encircling Russia. It's part of this encirclement. A lot of these former Russian, Soviet countries joining NATO, that's a huge deal for obviously Russia. So, if Trump has a good relationship with Putin, he's probably going to better see through, I think, a lot of these, like you're talking about, NATO provocations, which I think you're correct, bro. I think that is going to be a big avenue where some of this stuff comes from.
Yeah, that's how it goes down. NATO shoots down a Russian plane. A NATO conflict on the border of Russia with Russian troops, whatever.
They've been calling for that no-fly zone. At least Hillary was, and so obviously that's not going to happen through Hillary, but maybe through these other global.
Well, the president really is the only one that can say that, right?
What's that?
A no-fly zone. NATO doesn't have the power.
Oh, okay.
To declare that. I mean,
I didn't even know the president has the power to declare a no-fly zone in another country. That sounds fucking weird. You know what I mean? That's like the president of China saying, no-fly zone over fucking Cleveland. It's like, what? It just sounds weird, you know what I mean? Where do we get the freaking gall to start telling people where they can fly their own shit?
Oh, I know, dude. I know what you're saying. So, you got anything else, tough guy?
I think I am good, man. We'll just see. Next week, we're gonna probably start steering a little bit away from the election madness and Hillary Clinton. We're gonna start talking some other conspiratorial goodness, which I'll just tease it with that right there and leave that right there. And
dude, we made it through the election and we averted disaster.
And we're alive, brother. And I don't know if you saw the most recent Google Analytics, ladies and gentlemen. We are just blowing up and all over, man. Russia, China, Finland, Sweden, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Croatia. I mean, it's everywhere, man. The conspiracy farm it's making a global footprint, my friend.
It is, and it's cool to see that where my family is originally from. I'm American, but Croatia.
Yes, sir.
Listening, and I think that's pretty amazing that my fellow Croats over there are checking us out. And
we're big hit in Europe, man. You got Germany, Austria, Switzerland.
Well, they're sick of what's going on over there, buddy.
Yeah,
they're listening to us. Hey, maybe we'll help with the revolution over there.
You know, I have some family, pretty much family that lives in Norway, man. I've been wanting to check that out, and Norway here is a fan as well, so that'd be awesome. We should go, when we get huge dollars, brother, we need to go on a world tour and just, give all our love to all of our fans throughout the world.
The Conspiracy Farm Freedom Tour.
I like it. I like it a lot.
You want to give a shout-out to our sponsors, or you want me to do that, buddy?
Go for it, my man.
All right, from Firehorse Combatives, trainers of law enforcement and military. That's my partner in my company, of course. Iowa Bison, which is the best blow steak away. Please go to Iowa Bison, Google search it, check it out.
IowaBison.com.
Yep, IowaBison.com. Stuff's amazing. I've got the hot dogs. I've got the steaks.
Man, he gave me the hot dogs, the chili cheese hot dogs, bro. Oh. I hit him up. I was like, dude, that was some good stuff right there, man.
It is delicious. And C4 Concealed Carry Clothing Company, good stuff.
Good stuff.
There. And it's me speaking to you, a podcast done by Jeffrey Wilson.
Check him out. That's a cool fella. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and always thank you, champ. We'll stay in touch, and until next week.